What's up guys, my name's Dychronic, yours here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 weapons for PvP in the Kinetic slot. Now a lot of this is based on my own personal opinion, but as well I looked up on the internet, I scoured all over the videos on YouTube, over the different places across Google, I looked at different databases, and I found a lot of different varying results. I looked on Reddit pages, and I've gotten the opinion from a lot of my PvP friends, and I've tabulated this list on a bunch of different criteria. First criteria being time to kill. What is the best weapons for killing much faster than other weapons? Secondly, the ease of use. It doesn't matter what kind of time to kill the weapon has. If you can't hit any of the shots, you're not going to be able to kill any enemies. So I actually put a big focus on ease of use because in my opinion, people who come to watch these top 5s are not people who already know what the best weapons in the game are because they play a lot. They're people who are just getting back into Crucible. People that are not as good at Crucible like me. People that want to know what is the meta right now so they don't just get destroyed by the meta. And then lastly, there's a bunch of varying miscellaneous things that will also help out certain things, like different perks, like kill clip, just being so bombastic. Just a lot of little things that would increase the feasibility and use of certain weapons. Make sure you stick around because next week I'll probably either be doing the top energy weapons for PvP or the top power weapons for PvP. So make sure you stick around and subscribe for more of that in the future. This video has been brought to you by the Cabal, the cutest and most adorable species in all of Destiny. I'm just kidding, here's some cute puppies. What am I saying? These giant space rhinos and space turtles, why are they the cutest? We got puppies, who cares about Cabal? Although, it is kind of cute when they die and they go, it's one of my favorite things. I really want to meet the voice actor who did those sounds. Just had fun in the studio. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. Coming up at number 5 is gonna be the Dire Promise slash the Midnight Coup. Now, I added a slash here because a lot of weapons in a certain archetype, especially in this 150 archetype for hand cannons, are very, very similar in a lot of ways. They just vary in slight differences in stats and differences in the perks. In PvP, I would say Dire Promise is probably an easier weapon to use as far as it comes to the recoil pattern being a lot easier to control than the Midnight Coup, but also the Midnight Coup is probably easier to get since Dire Promise only comes around from dead orbit and every time you do faction rally. As far as perks go, there's really nothing on this that are particularly awesome. Triple tap on the Dire Promise is not really that important, and getting the steady rounds is, useful for the recoil control, but it's not something that's super bombastic. What makes this weapon so powerful is it has one of the lowest time to kill in the game at a 150 hand cannon. It can 3 headshot, 1 body shot pretty much everybody in the game. And again, like I was saying earlier, its recoil pattern is a little easier than the Midnight Coup. I apologize for the gameplay you can see in the background. I'm not good with hand cannons. I'm not good at PvP in general, but hand cannons is just, it throws me for a loop. So if you're looking for a weapon that's a little bit lower on the ease of use, but it is definitely really low on the time to kill, you're going to want to pick up the Dire Promise or the Midnight Coup. Pretty much any 150 hand cannon will serve your purposes quite well. Coming up at number 4 on this top 5 list is going to be the Anti-OPD. Now, a lot of people are going to be a little mad that this is so far down the list. However, I would say that this weapon definitely suffers from ease of use by a lot. Now, I don't use SMGs a lot. Now, I could be one of the rare people who just cannot use SMGs whatsoever, but it seems relatively difficult to use this one outside of the close range engagements, but it is one of the highest range SMGs out there, and it does have a kill clip which will help increase that range potential, and it is definitely a very, very powerful weapon. If you see the Anti-OPD from the gunsmith after giving him gunsmith materials, and you do get this one to drop, keep it. This weapon is incredible, but it is, again, difficult to use outside that close range. So you're definitely going to want to pair this weapon up with a mid-range to mid-long range like the Graviton Lance or anything that will fill that energy slot for that mid to long range. Coming up at number 3 on this top 5 is going to be a weapon that I don't actually have. So you'll see in the background, you'll see some Time War Spire gameplay. That's actually an incredible weapon. I highly recommend it. But the weapon that we're going to be talking about in this one is going to be Redrix's Claymore. Now, if you do not know about this weapon, it is available if you get to rank 4 in the Glory playlist, which is going to be the competitive playlist. If you do get this weapon, highly recommend, first of all, you keep it, but second of all, you use it. This weapon can destroy in Crucible. Now, what makes this weapon so very powerful? It is a 340 pulse rifle with incredible perks. First perk being that it's a high impact frame, which means it does a lot of damage. The fact that it's a 340 should tell you that it's more on the lower fire rate, higher damage. Secondly, it has outlaw, so precision kills greatly reduce the reload time. And then lastly, the most important thing, the only weapon with Desperado Reloading while Outlaw is active increases your fire rate. Now, it increases your fire rate by a lot, pretty much measurable to the amount of fire rate that the Time-Worn Spire has. I think it's actually faster fire rate than the Time-Worn Spire, so it does a faster fire rate than a 540 with the damage of a 340. That is mind-blowing. The amount of DPS you can get out in PvP after getting a headshot kill, reloading with Outlaw, which is very, very quick, you will just go on tears. And overall, it's not a bad weapon without that reload of Desperado at all, because it is a little more difficult to use 340s in the higher fire rate kind of meta, but it is still very, very powerful because it is higher impact, so it's like a higher risk, higher reward. I would say a second downside to this, other than the fact that it is a lower fire rate and it's a little more difficult to use, is that its aim assistance isn't really that good. You'll see a lot better aim assistance on a lot of other weapons like the Vigilance Wing, the Time-Worn Spire. This one's a little bit less on aim assistance, but again, that shouldn't really matter once you get used to it. You should be able to kind of whip it out whenever you can. Anyways, let's move on to the number 2 weapon in PvP for the Kinetic slot, which is gonna be the Crimson Exotic Hand Cannon. Now, this is one of the biggest weapons that was missing from one of my previous lists. One of the biggest reasons why this weapon is so amazing is just because it is amazing. It has a masterwork that firstly increases the range almost to maximum, so it changes it from 60 to like 90, which is an incredible amount of range. It pretty much matches the lower range pulse rifles, and it can reach into incredible distances for a hand cannon. On top of that, the perks are actually pretty amazing as well. First of all, it's a 3-burst weapon, so it's a hand cannon with 3 bursts. Very similar to a lot of sidearms who have 3 bursts, but this one is going to be a hand cannon with 3 bursts. And secondly, Cruel Remedy. Kills with this weapon heal the user, which is really useful, and precision kills also refill the magazine. So you're going out there, you're getting kills, you're getting ammo back into the magazine, and you're getting healed off of your kills. You can just keep on tearing off enemies one at a time very, very quickly. Again, you do 24 damage headshots. If you land all your headshots, you can nearly 2 burst enemies in the head, which obviously is not very likely, so you're gonna end up with a lot of 3-burst kills, which is still very, very powerful. That being said, I'm not very good with the hand cannons, and you can see the gameplay. I'm not very good, but neither is the enemy, so we kind of just went back and forth a little bit. This weapon is very powerful. I can definitely see in the right hands, after getting used to it, it tearing up the Crucible, but the ease of use is a little bit lower for my own personal taste, just because I'm not a hand cannon guy, that it doesn't beat out number 1. Coming into number 1, you guys know what this weapon is. Now, it has fallen from grace a little bit, but the Vigilance Wing Pulse Rifle is still my favorite weapon in Crucible right now, even more so than the Graviton. Now, if you've never heard of this weapon before, it is one of those unique weapons with a 5-burst pulse rifle, which is very, very odd, very different. It also has the ability to improve weapon performance and greatly increase recovery when you're the last wielder of your fire team. And lastly, when any one of your teammates nearby is killed, you gain health regeneration and increased movement speed. Pretty much, if somebody gets blown up by a rocket near you, you take almost lethal damage, you basically just get full health again. It's very, very useful. Your teammates die near you, you're just back up to full, which is really, really nice. This weapon is also very, very useful when you're using it on the Search and Destroy mode. I forget what it's called, the bomb mode, because, you know, when you're the last member of your fire team, if you are the last member, none of your teammates can respawn, and you can just get overall an amazing bonus. One of the downsides of this weapon is that it has a little bit of a sluggish amount of handling, so I would recommend using it with anything that increases your handling, like Ophidian aspects for the Warlocks. Now, one of the most obvious questions is, how does this weapon, the Vigilance Wing, compare to things like the Graviton Lance and the legendary versions, the Time-Worn Spire and Autumn Wind? The Graviton Lance, in my opinion, has better range potential, but as you get closer to the target, you have more of a chance of missing that second shot, and as soon as you whiff that second shot on pretty much 1 or 2 of those bursts, you're pretty much dead. But as far as the Vigilance go, it is a lot easier to land those shots, and if you whiff maybe like part of the burst, it is not the end of the world, whereas Graviton, it is obviously the most important thing, is to hit that second shot, and if you don't, you pretty much just didn't fire that shot at all. Now, how does the Vigilance Wing compare to the Time-Worn Spire, which is a legendary high fire rate pulse rifle for the Kinetic slot? Now, don't get me wrong, I think the Time-Worn Spire is a fantastic weapon. When I was using it, I found that it's actually a lot better than I thought it was. But there's a bunch of things that make a weapon whole. First off, you want to look at all of the stats. Now, if you see the stats and you compare the two of them, the Vigilance and the Time-Worn, you can pretty much see that the Vigilance is better in every single category except Reload, which they tie. It has better impact, it has better range, has better stability, it has a better clip size. And in my opinion, when it comes to the perks, it has better perks, you know. The Time Worn Spire has Zen moments, so you can get better stability, but that stability pretty much just matches the stability that the Vigilance has at all times. So overall, in my opinion, it is just really no contest. Obviously, advantage of being a legendary means you can use exotic in another slot, like for example, maybe you want the Graviton or you want the Colony or the Acreus on. With Vigilance, you can't do that, but with Time Worn, you still can. Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's the top 5 for you guys today. Again, let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if I missed something in my list. Here's the list of all the honorable mentions, the other weapons that I was considering. If your weapon doesn't appear on the list, it doesn't mean that it's not good. It doesn't mean that it's behind all these weapons. It means that I didn't really consider it as much as some other weapons. So these are definitely weapons that I mostly have. These are weapons that I see in the Crucible a lot. And if you think that there are weapons that are definitely better than these weapons, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to discover new weapons. I really do. I want to see, hey, what did you use and why? And why is it better than the ones that I did use? Because I'm a gamer just like you guys. I play Destiny. I want to know what's the OP meta so I can go out there and crush some skulls. Anyways, that's the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you want to see some more of these top 5s in the future, again, the energy weapons for the PvP and the heavy weapons, or the power weapons, are coming up on the next week. I can't decide which one I want first, so let me know of those two which one you want to see first. And yeah, my name's been Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.